Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Enlighten Up podcast. As always, each month we do a full rundown of our full moon, and who better than to bring on my dearest Scorpio queen, Mary Dusina. She's an astrologist, she's a seer, and she's gonna tell you exactly how it is. We do this every full moon. And so, Mary, so good to have you back on the show, since we do have a very big and potent full moon in Sagittarius to discuss today.
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, audience. And first and foremost, this is one of the Ascended Masters moons. There is a trilogy of moons that encompass Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And this is the third in that trio, that trilogy of Ascended Masters light. So I first and foremost want to thank you, Nicole, and I want to thank you to the Enlighten Up community and tribe, and just know that I will speak for Nicole on this, that we both authentically, genuinely wish to bestow the Almighty I Am, the great spirit forces of light upon you and your concerns, and we're here in service to you, as well as to continue to enlighten up our own consciousness and to level up into the auspices of harmonious light.
Yes, yes. And so, as I've mentioned on one of my other videos, that Mary and I are we've received some feedback from some of you in the audience, and to help make the messages a little more clear and concise, we've kind of created a little bit of just a little bit of structure, because it's important for both Mary and I that the messages really land for you. Otherwise, then there's no point of us doing this. If you guys aren't receiving the messages or it's not making sense, then it's not helpful to you. And we want it to be helpful, but we also want to stay true to who Mary is and who I am. And so we're going to try and blend. We're going to try this. We're going to add a little bit more structure in. So you guys let us know in the comments if you like the way we've kind of structured this show, or if you prefer the old way. And you can tell us little bits that you like, that you don't like. We love the feedback because, like Mary said, we're here to grow with you guys. And this is a process that, if there's ways that we can do this better for you, then we absolutely want to. And we take everything into consideration. Just remember that if you're an a-hole in the comments and you leave a-hole kind of comments, we won't listen to you.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yes.
Here.
Yes. Come with an open heart. We don't mind constructive criticism. You can constructively criticize us. Just do it from a place of maturity, which some of you have, and that's why we're doing this for you. So we are talking about the full moon in Sagittarius, and this is happening on May. That's the month. I almost wanted to say December, May 23rd, at what time of it's at, I think 9:53.
Yeah. And it's at 2:55 degrees of the Gemini Sagittarius polarity axis.
Yes, the 2-degree mark. So 2 degrees of Sagittarius, 2 degrees of Gemini, because whenever we have a full moon, the moon is in one sign, the sun is in its opposite sign. So, Mary, before we get into this, I just kind of want to know, how are you feeling about this full moon in Sagittarius overall?
I feel, and have done this over 35 years, now, this lifetime. I feel that the Sagittarius flavor, you know, it's like when I look at the sun in Gemini and the moon being full in Sagittarius, where Gemini is effervescent and curious. You know, the solar cycle right now is like, let's go play, let's go do this. Let me talk to you about this. Let's meet up. Let's have even more time together. The full light, the spotlight of our lovely Luna is in the 9th sign of the Western zodiac, the philosophical, where Gemini can be the conscious mind. Sagittarius seeks the higher love and the higher mind. So they're looking for the event horizon. They're looking for the long range answer, the long range view. I feel always very optimistic when we have anything of a celestial flavor happening in Sagittarius. And of course, the part of that, the 2 degrees, that 255 degrees, is that we also are dealing with the constellation of Regulus, and the energy of the 2 to 3 hits the heart of Regulus, which is the lion, the heart of the lion. So we have some Leo-y solar dynamics with this, coming off of the very anomalous and unusual high heavenly blessing of how the northern lights and the solar storms lit everything up in quite a surprising, astonishing way. I know that you saw them in Wyoming, and they were, I mean, it was profound that you walked outside here in Tennessee, and it's like, oh my word. I mean, I had seen them in North Carolina back in the late 90s, but it was just the red ones, you know, the little red ones in summer. And I thought, wow, because solar storms and solar maximums, you know, start up every 11 years. So we're at solar storm 25, and there's still a lot of stuff happening, and many more chances for us to see the heavenly lights rain upon us. And, you know, Nicole, when I was out under it, it was like really strong in my time zone from like 9:45 to 10:45, and people were running into the Smoky Mountains and snapping pictures. I just walked outside the door, and there it was, and it was the purple and the green and the rosy pink, and I felt psychically, which is in tune with this Sagittarian moon optimism, that it was the first time in a long time. I mean, they're talking about this being the biggest solar storm appearance in color, in living color, for 50 years. But I felt that it was the first real, behold, there will be signs and wonders in the heavens, that we will see them, not just with your cell phones, because cell phones do produce more vividness when they're pale. These were bright with the naked eye, so to speak, with my human eyes. And I really felt that with all the divisiveness that's been going on since 2016 and then globally in 2020, I really felt like this was the heavens saying, let us come together in unification. Sagittarius this is the only full moon in Sagittarius, and it has to do with healing old wounds. And we've got Pluto stationary, and it stays stationary for a while at the second, between the 1st and the 2nd degree of Aquarius. That's humanitarian. It gets along with our Sagittarius moon, and the moon is the archer with the arrows. And it's like, yes, even though there are arrows, aka missiles, and some bombs and things going on in different parts of the world, when you get a nice energy between Aquarius, Pluto, because I'm looking at this full moon, look at those both those signs in your chart, the Pluto shift in Aquarius, what house that hits, and the full moon in Sagittarius. But on a beginner intermediate level, for those of you coming to know your chart, I know Nicole doesn't, we never want to plow past people that are just wanting to begin to really understand the celestial mechanics. This is tying into, when we look at moon cycles, we had a new moon. As Nicole said, the full moon is when the sun is in one sign, in this case Gemini, and the full moon rises in its exact polarity opposite, in this case Sagittarius. Back on 12/12 of 2023, we had the yearly new moon. And so this is when both the sun and the moon were in the same sign of Sagittarius. So this full moon, almost 6 months later, and moons go in those kind of cycles, this is the full moon that's saying you're probably finishing up and reaching a more definable culmination on some of those goals, projects, dreams. And even if things were delayed, in mid-December of 2023. Now you're coming to accomplishment points and conclusion points, because the full moon shed light, the spotlight. Of course, it's on Sagittarius, but it's lighting up what's the next step in our vision quest, and what do we need to explore, where do we need to adventure. But Sagittarius, pretty much like Libra, Sagittarius wants to lean in to faith as a fuel and optimism, and to bring up the energy of the room, but freedom and liberation. And don't leash me, and don't bridle me, and don't saddle me. Let me have my freedom to roam, and let me have my ability to get in a car, or if we're longing for a cruise or a trip, or seeing that fun friend, or adventuring in some brand new avenues of conversation, or meeting up, or coming together to study a therapeutic or a philosophical concept. That's Sagittarius too, because it's philosophy and our spiritual beliefs, and yes, religion. And I think we're looking at, with Pluto, do the beliefs that I was raised with, do the concepts and my moral codes match me now? Where am I in being able to lean into being the genuine person that my soul wants me to be? And how might I balance, and how might I fortify my own disciplines, my discernment, surely the discernment, to be able to feel and listen to the dictates of the heart and the soul. So Sagittarius, to me, I would say truth comes to light. And I would say that this is a full moon that says, just let the light come, just let the light reveal a lot of people say, I wish I had an answer. I wish I had an answer. I just don't have an answer. I need clarity. If I had to pick one overarching concept, I would say that this is inspiration and aspiration, because it's a fire sign. It's the 9th house. And I feel like that many answers are coming. I just kept hearing psychically, truth is coming to light.
Well, I think that's really interesting, considering that, just having this very impactful aurora borealis, like you were saying, like the way we were able to see this with our naked eye, because yes, the camera can absolutely pick up the vibrancy of the colors, if you do a really nice long exposure. But there was something much more magical about this particular event that we had. And I agree with you when we talk about the light and this idea of all of the solar particles, those light packets that are holding information for our heightened consciousness. And we talk about, Sagittarius, the higher mind, wanting to go to new levels, wanting to go beyond what I already know. I want to go outside my comfort zone. I want to know what's on the other side of where I've been. That is important in the journey when you're looking at truth, when you're looking at knowing what is it that I don't know, which obviously for all of us, it's a lot. It's a lot that we don't know. But this idea of the truth is coming to light, I feel like, for us to be able to see the magnificent colors, and for everyone on the planet, because remember that this is usually something that's only seen in the very high levels of the northern or southern atmosphere, or not atmosphere, sorry, earth plane. And so for it to be seen as far down as Cuba, okay, there were people in Cuba who were able to see the northern lights on the Friday, on the first night. That is incredible. That is an event that is, it's like you said, the celestial skies are speaking to us, because this was a very direct impact on Earth. It's like the sun had us in its target and it wasn't missing, because it had 3 storms out of 5 that hit us directly and strongly. And so the sun is saying, yes, it is time for truth to come to light, because that is a very Sagittarian theme, very, very Sagittarian theme.
Yeah, it's like my clients, because I lived in Florida for a while, so I have clients in Sanibel and Sarasota, and they were like freaking out in a good way. But they're like, Mary, how is it in Tennessee? Because, oh my God. And they sent me pictures of like the pinks and the reds and the greens and the purples, bright, very bright. Of this, look at the palm trees. It's palm trees. Look at the palm trees. And there's a piece of this that, you know, when you look at, yes, when the sun each year gets into Gemini, it becomes all about communication. So absolutely, this full moon is about communication, attitude, and a sense of adventure. These are common descriptive words, communication and truth. And are we a student? Are we, well, as far as I'm concerned, we're always an eager student if we're leaning away from ego and into soul. But where Sagittarius says, oh, I have to go into the adventure of this, and then I'm happy to teach it. You know, Sagittarius enjoys teaching what they've learned. And when you think about Sagittarius energy and the broader horizon and the foreign affair of it all, the out of the envelope, step out of the box sense of adventure and vision quest, if you've never ever been to a beach and you've lived out west or you've lived where there's not an ocean shore, and you go the first time, whatever age you are, and you actually sit there and bear witness to the ions at the beach and the shore and the waves and those moonrises and those sunsets. If you've never been to the beach, when you go, you're changed. You're forever changed. So it gives you that broader atmospheric feeling. And like these aurora borealis, I mean, you're talking about, when we talk about Native peoples' descriptions, it's Mother Earth, Father Sky, Grandfather Sun, Grandmother Moon. They put a yin yang on it, as well as some of the Buddhist cultures. And so if you look at the fact that of all the times it could have happened, because we're entering the first of an 11-year solar maximum cycle, when you look at this initiation event, this was Sun sparking off these plasmic bursts, these coronal mass ejections, the X's and the GP6. I mean, the GP scale goes up to 9. It was hitting 6 and 7, and they're now saying that that's going to continue. A lot of the scientists, if you go to spaceweather.com and you go to it, there's an aurora tracker that you can do. They were talking about that they're so stunned that it's happening this early in 2024 because they really thought it wasn't going to amp up until 2025. Now, a lot of people say, of course, is that it's like grandfather's sun turned its sun faced the earth facing, and it was actually exhaling plasmic light right into Earth's magnetosphere. So it does affect the ozone. It does affect the creatures of Earth. I've had many people saying to me, I'm so tired. Other people have said, I'm so buzzed. I've lost my sleep. And Nicole and I have both heard over the years clients saying, oh my God, I cannot sleep during a full moon, or I can put blackout curtains and I still don't sleep at a full moon. The moon is about our feelings, and the moon dips into our subconscious, and it goes into sometimes, not laying judgment on anybody, but if we have any kind of repressed or embedded childhood theater types of things that we just don't want to go there, we got to go function with our life in the here and now. Sometimes strong full moons, eclipses, transits of Saturn, like Mars is in Aries right now. So where Mars is still finishing up in Aries, we had that coming together. As Nicole and I were discussing, the beautiful joining together over the 18th of the energies of Venus, the ruler of Taurus, and then Uranus, which is in Taurus. We've got Neptune at 29 degrees. We've got Jupiter in 29 degrees, this strong degree of Taurus. So where Sagittarius is saying, what inspires you? What uplifts your heart? What are your goals of the soul? The Taurus is saying, and when's the last time you really just took a break from earning the money you want to earn and running the businesses that you want to do and the renters and the tenants and the moving and this and that and the responsibilities? When's the last time you just took that serenity, soft spot in nature? And it's as if the heavens were saying, I'm right here. I'm right here. And what people forget, because of course I've heard a lot of complaints about the people who said, I can't believe I slept through it. I didn't know. It's number one, it's very hard to predict the actual timing, even with these scientific sites of the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, even in the Northern Hemisphere, because it's 93 million miles, as they speculated, the sun to
Yes.
Earth. Okay, so it's like they can try to speculate it, but I've seen on these trolls going, "It was HARP, it was CERN." No, no, my
Oh
dad
God,
retired from NASA.
I saw a
Yeah,
comment on my video about that, and I just thought, too many conspiracy theories. You've gone down too many rabbit holes if you think the Aurora
well,
Borealis was a HARP experiment. Like,
well, and I say to those people, please follow and learn from people like Nick Balick and Dane Wigington that for 30 years has been talking about the effects of HARP in Oslo, Norway, and up in Alaska, and the dimming of the sun and things like that. And when you've had a father that was military and retired from NASA, I had to learn about space whether I liked it or not. It was my world. So does HARP do things? Uh-huh. Do all the magnets of CERN over there in Switzerland and France, all these magnets going off in the underbelly of our Mother Earth, do I think that has effect on things and can
sure.
open up dimensions?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But for me, just little old me, humble opinion, I went out and I put my arms up and I went under it. And what was interesting, it had been still weather all day. And right before those colors burst, and it didn't last that, I mean, it's like 30 minutes of vivid color. And I'm like,
I
she
know. I'm
gone.
so glad.
Yeah,
Within 15 minutes of me seeing it, I was like, because I had to pull over and I was like, ooh, and I just thought it was going to go all night. But thank God, within 15 minutes, it was almost gone.
right. Because I say to people, the sun is exhaling, and literally in a psychical, spiritual, soul upliftment sense, it's like I am exhaling my light into you, my beloved Mother Earth. I'm giving you pieces of the great star that holds the planets in its orbit. I am the great solar star, alive, pulsating, breathing, pulsing. And in these plasmatic sparks, these M-class, X-class flares left the sun and traveled to the Earth. And the normal, again, it's hard to predict, the normal range is it reaches Earth between 48 and 72 hours from when the sun actually like, boop, lets it go. So I saw it more in a mystical sense of where the world has been shaking and quaking and people being angry about, they said no to this and yes to that. I felt like it was like, okay, I'm right over your head. And remember that even though it's daylight and you're different time zones, and you won't necessarily see it during the daylight, of course, but it's still happening.
Hmm.
Solar storms are still
Yeah.
happening. So you're going to feel more driven, very intense, emotional high tides and low tides, not quite like a full moon can stir up the waters of the body, bring the tides and the emotions and the feelings up to the surface. For me, feel like it's very healing, but when it first hits, it's as if we're being, and Nicole knows this, encoded.
Yeah,
It's
I
as
was
if
going to
we're
say, it's like you're
receiving.
getting a massive download.
It is. It's like, well, actually, I believe we're getting recalibrated,
No,
and I believe
I
that
would
it's a
agree with you. Can I just say that while we're talking about the Aurora Borealis and I think it is a beautiful precursor to this full moon in Sagittarius coming up, because
yes,
when we think about how we live as a society, we all have our heads down. We're looking at our phone, we're looking at where we're going, we got our head down in our work. Like, we're not looking up, we're not looking at the very minimum what's ahead of us a lot of the time, let alone like just even looking up at what's up. And so what was so nice, and I just received this download like just a few minutes ago while you were talking, is that
thank you.
what that Aurora Borealis did for our planet was
Yes,
it gave everyone a moment to look up together collectively, where everyone was in
unified.
awe. Everyone was like, wow, we forgot about the crap that we are inundated with in this planet. And there brings in that Sagittarius hope, that optimism, that idea that
Yes,
magic is alive. There's something bigger. It's like the sun's kind of speaking to us through this beautiful plasmic display of light, that, hey,
absolutely.
hey, look at the big picture. Look at what's all around you. There's more here. There's more to life than what's just directly in front of you. And I think that just even from a collective perspective, for so many of us, way more than normal, for many of us to be willing to go outside and take the time to all be looking up, or at least a little bit higher than the horizon, and to take in, like you're saying, all this encoding that the sun has imbued towards us and gifted us to Earth. Because I do believe that we're going to see a very strong awakening unfold over the summer months on our planet. There's going to be a higher uptick in people starting to wake up to their own truth, whatever that's going to mean for anyone in their personal lives. And of course, whenever we're waking up to our own personal truths, that means it has to get reflected in our outer world as well.
Yeah, and I thought of a couple of statements. There's more here than meets the eye. Let thy eye be single, behold. It's like the burning bush stuff. We literally had the heavens were dancing, because when you actually get under clear pictures of the northern lights, the aurora borealis, what happens is, or in the southern hemisphere, the southern borealis, what happens is that you literally, with your own God-gifted eyes, you literally are bearing witness to things that you have no control over. Like, as much as our little human minds and egos think we're all that in a bag of chips, snap, snap, it lets us realize that in a moment's notice, without any ruler, monarch, government agent in control to lock down, shut down, corral up, the heavens will dance when they damn well want to. And it was, to me, it was literally that biblical translation of, there will be signs and wonders, shock and awe, and signs and wonders to behold. And that, what I started to tell you is that right before the colors like boom and pulsed, I noticed this tree, next to me. It's been still weather all day, no wind, no nothing, no storms, no nothing. And all of a sudden there was an electrical sizzle kind of an energy. It was like not unlike that movie Phenomena, when John Travolta was sensing the energy arc before there was the earthquake. And he's like, oh my God, can you feel it? And so this tree, all of a sudden it started to swirl. And you can tell when you live in your particular area, whether the wind's coming from the east or the west, or it's a storm front or whatever, or just it feels like there's no air. And this tree, I kept looking at it, and it kept swirling around like in a circle. And I'm like, and it wasn't one of those little wind tunnel, wind devil type of things. And I'm looking at the top of this tree, and I'm like, I believe that might be like kind of like how they visual of the solar wind. And then boom, there came the color, and then the tree went still. And I'm like, oh, that was palatable. That was palatable. My long hair lifted up, and I closed my eyes. I mean, the wind literally lifted it up, and I said, I allow myself in a multidimensional, as above, so below, heavenly to earth dynamic, be cleansed and cleared of any and all uninvited influences. I allow myself to trust the divine timing. I allow myself to receive the sacred prosperity. I allow myself to release. Sagittarius is about liberation and freedom. I allow myself to be unencumbered and released from any of this incarnations, any of this life walk's embedded tensions or embedded fears or embedded constraints. I allow myself to literally raise my hands up, those chakras in the palms of your hands. I went out deliberately barefoot, so I was grounding on Mother Earth, and I said, I receive as an antenna. Thank you for encoding me. Thank you for blessing me. And in this moment, I felt such surges of gratitude, which is the optimism also of a Sagittarius full moon. And I got the clear signal, no matter what's going on in our life, it's time for deeper, feel it fully, moods and declarations of words of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Because where Gemini is pretty comfortable in its immediate environment, the neighbors, the community, and who they're talking to around them in their daily world, where it can get a little complacent. But Sagittarius stimulates it. It stimulates us to venture beyond just what's around in our, I don't mean lower in a bad way, but Gemini is like the conscious lower mind, and Sagittarius represents the higher aspirations and the higher mind. So where Gemini encourages us to think in a logical perspective. The Sagittarius full moon persuades us to think in a broader sense. So at this time, to answer, what's different about this moon than last year's Sagittarius moon, we now have a clearer picture and obvious signs and wonders of becoming more fully aware of what's been lacking or missing in our own inner world and our own outer lives, particularly related to where we've been leaning into what we want to learn, how we want to adventure. Not all journeys are physical. We're going to see people wanting to take up more of a holistic attitude toward our wellness, mental, physical, spiritual. We're examining and reevaluating our core beliefs. And I believe that we're also going to want to tribe up and not be divided. Not, united we stand, divided we fall, but I believe it's going to have to do with more of what resonates with us. And I think there's a whole lot to this whole three-dimensional into higher dimensional manifestations. I mean, the Mayan long count calendar was said to have come to its full cycle in 2012. And if you look back in your life to 2012 and look at now, 2024, I believe that, the Chiron and the North Node in Aries and Mars getting ready to cross over the April 8th eclipse point when we get around May 25th. Literally at this full moon, Venus at 29 degrees, it joins with, the Jupiter at 29 degrees, and they're both popping into Gemini as we go into the latter parts of this month. So it's a crescendo. It's like the old, it really is. It's like the old church songs, in Appalachia here, there shall be showers of blessings, wonderful wonder showers from on above. So I really believe that if you'll at least just be open-minded to it, not just when the skies are dark and, oh, damn it, I can't believe I missed it and I want to see it. It's ongoing. It's ongoing. And you may experience it more with dreams. You may experience it more with, whoa, what was that? I haven't thought about that relative that passed into spirit. And I saw my cat or my dog that passed away 7 years ago. I had to let go of a dog or a cat in the month of May. I mean, it's really about transcendence and transformation. And so we may be assisting someone that's going through a health challenge, be the encouraging energy that because Sagittarius is the shaman, the rabbi, the guru, the life coach, even literally sports coaches, the one that teaches you how to be a race car driver, the one that teaches you how to play polo on a horse or to go snorkeling. So it has a lot to do with why and who are we drawn to now that gives us a deeper, richer, broader experience as a student.
Yes. I actually want to go into a couple things about this moon, but I got a message while a few minutes ago from the sun that through this particular solar storm that caught the solar winds towards Earth, that new seeds of consciousness were planted here on Earth, and
Yes.
literal seeds of new light beings have been brought through the portal of the sun towards Earth that I believe are interacting in different dimensions of this planet. This is what I'm getting, and that we're going to be able to start interacting with them and assisting us in helping us to raise our levels of consciousness. So I think that's really interesting. But even speaking to this idea of there's two things I want to talk about with this full moon with you, Mary. First, can we talk about the significance of one? We know that the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. Jupiter has just come off a conjunction with Venus. And yes, it's at the 29th degree, which I think is really important. But before we even talk about the 29th degree of Taurus, can we just talk about the significance of Jupiter and Venus, both Jupiter being the ruler of the full moon and Venus being the dispositor of where Jupiter is? What is the significance of that in this full moon of Sagittarius?
Well, Jupiter, to me, in my astrological perspective, Jupiter rules this full moon, period. Venus, because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, but Jupiter is known as one of the great benefics. in astrology, like Venus, the Sun, and Jupiter are the big guns of prosperity and good fortune and expansiveness. And Venus is always about, she's strongest when she's in her home signs of Taurus or Libra. So she led into this full moon at that Antarctic degree of 29 degrees. To me, the 29th degree, if you look at 12 for our beginners, 12 zodiac signs, 30 degrees possible, 12 times 30 gets the 360-degree wheel of a circle, 12 signs, 12 divisions, 12 zodiacal spices, flavors, if you will. So whenever a planet gets to the 29th degree, for me, it's that final oomph of that sign, you know, kind of like a solar flare in a sense. It's kind of like, here comes the boom of Taurus. Here's before I go into Gemini at this full moon, you know, because Venus and Jupiter on the 23rd joined at Eastern time at 4:29 in the morning. That was 1:29 Pacific. And then right after that, Venus in her home sign of Taurus did a sextile to Neptune in Pisces. So they're pulled in water to earth like a waterfall on a mountain. And then Venus entered Gemini at 4:30 on the 23rd. She enters into Gemini. So before that, we had the moon trining Neptune at 29 degrees Scorpio Pisces at 3:28 in the morning in the Pacific coast, you know, right after midnight. Then the moon popped into Sagittarius. And then what happened is that Venus and Jupiter joined. So you have, the easy way to explain it is the best of, when you're studying, well, this planet does this, and where Saturn puts the brakes on, Mars wants to go fast, really fast, and Mercury wants to talk about it. But Venus and Jupiter and the Sun, but especially Jupiter and Venus, when they joined together, then that's like this other burst of good karma, prosperity, of availability, of maneuverability, and it's again bringing truth to light. Jupiter is leading, even though it's leaving Taurus, but it's leading this full moon. And so then you've got the Venus and the Sun Kazemi that's going on, because the Sun pops also into Gemini. So you've got this like boom, you know, kind of a thing going on, and it's like where Taurus, even when it's the good stuff, man, Taurus is where we must recognize it's time to let go. So Taurus is about, what have I come to rely on? What have I invested in? Where do I feel like that gives me my private moments of security and serenity? And then the Sagittarius is, do you want to lean into that more? Or do you want to look at even the Sabian symbol? The Sabian symbol for the 3 degrees of the Sagittarius moon is 2 men playing a chess game. Well, a chess game, in a sense, is like a type of competition. There's kings and jacks and knights, and it's strategy. So I believe that the Taurus, groundedness, earth sign, and the Sagittarius, the fire, inspire, desire type of the sign pointing up to the heavens, literally, that bow is raised to the top of the heavens. I believe it has a lot to do with setting our sights higher, optimism, faith, you know, like the old saying of like, if you got thrown off the saddle, get back up in the saddle. Mm-hmm. So it has a lot to do with, the Taurus always teaches us spiritually, we already have everything that we need soul-wise as we arrived here. It's the garden of delights. It's really not getting complacent with all that our Earth Mother biologically gives us, the wind, the sun, the rain, the places where we build our houses, the parks, the flowers, the food that we consume. So Taurus each year reminds us of what is right in front of our faces. And Taurus kind of seeks to balance the have and the have not beliefs within us. So it's a lot to do with, I know I have to know what's growing in my life. I have to know what's growing, and I need to know that there's truths that have been seeded, like you were talking about. It reminded me, the heavenly lights, and to your point about seeds, plasmic seeds coming into the earth, you know, the magnetosphere protects Mother Earth, but we're also electromagnetic biological creatures. It reminded me of the scene in the first Avatar movie where the blue kind of warrior woman, if you've not seen that first Avatar movie, fast forward to the scene on YouTube or on Netflix, fast forward to the scene where she takes the man that's from another dimension to the world tree. And it looks like there's little dandelions flying everywhere. And you know, if you look at dandelions, that's the little seeds that fly in the air like little white parachutes and go everywhere. And it led me also to Psalms in the Bible, Psalms 84:11. Our Lord, our God, our Lord is both a sun and a shield. So that was interesting to me that Earth has a magneto shield, but the sun was giving off its sparks of light, its galactic light, straight Earth facing into us. So for me, the Taurus is the security parameters, but it's also, you know, when you know, back on April 21st, when Jupiter joined with Uranus, it happens once every 14 years. And so what's happening is that hope and faith, I feel, hope and faith got seeded, and the diligence got our perseverance. Taurus is, I will do this. Taurus's keywords are I have. You know, so Taurus is about I already have. Let me work with what I already have to pursue the goal or to further my stance. Where Sagittarius, you know, has a lot to do with I believe or I perceive, and it's that deep expansion. It's like the archer and the centaur, the adaptable, and yeah, that's a good one for Sagittarius. It's adaptable enthusiasm, but they want to laugh, they want harmony. It's I see it, you know, I see it. We're in Scorpio, we desire it when we had the Scorpio full moon last month. So this is like freedom,
Yeah.
surprise, turquoise. It's
Okay.
like the tarot.
So when it
Go
comes
ahead.
to like this Jupiter Venus conjunction, what I'm also feeling like very similar to what you're saying here right now about the Sagittarius and the Taurus flavorings is that it feels to me like, of course, when we talk about this, like, you know, the truth is coming to light. It feels, you
Yes.
know, Sagittarius is very much like the ruler of existential questions. The who am I? Why am
Yes.
I here? All
Yep.
that kind of stuff. And the Taurus is the very physical matter. It's about materialism, material wealth. And I feel that at this time, there is going to be, for some of you out there, a deep yearning or illumination through this full moon and the weeks coming after it, that people are going to be really like questioning, you know, is my purpose, who I am, really aligned with how I'm building my world, how I'm building my finances, how I'm building, you know, my foundation, and what when the seeds I'm planting in the ground, very Taurian themes. And so when Jupiter and Venus come together, I feel like also when we think about our personal values, Venus represents our values, what we're worth. And I think that there's going to be this infusion of this full moon of really bringing in together the concepts of, you know, being true to thine own self in being very more authentic and expansive to explore who I am and to align my values and how perhaps I'm even the way I work in the sense of how I'm making money, you know, for myself. And that there's going to be a stronger pull in trying to align those two to come together in harmony.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the word enough doesn't exist in Sagittarius's vocabulary. When a Sagittarius fire is lit, the curiosity, the enthusiasm, the titillation of it, whether it's studying something about going deeper down the rabbit hole, or what is a black hole, or a newfound internet crush, Sagittarius goes all in. They're committed to the ride. So it's a dynamic blend of passion, which Taurus has. So the Sagittarius Taurus combination is curiosity, passion, intensity, adaptability. So I don't think now, if we look at the Sagittarius zones of our personal chart, we're not afraid to use our bow and arrow to explore expansive terrain. So we're all on that vision quest to seek answers in places and spaces where others wouldn't dare venture. So maybe whitewater rafting isn't for everybody. Some people may not want to go up in a hot air balloon or not want to, you know, go slalom skiing, but it's still about we're uncovering secrets about the ancient aspects of us. It's like time travelers, you know, it's like we're quantum jumping. We're jumping timelines right now because the Sagittarius fire in all of us, depending on what house it is for you. The Sagittarius quest for knowledge knows no bounds. It's a mutable sign. Gemini is a mutable sign. So it's adaptable, it's flexible. And so but it's also got the quagmire, I think, between the stability of Taurus sometimes and the freedom fighter, the brave heart, the pirate that Sagittarius can be, is that the archer of Sagittarius has a deep-rooted desire for change. Change quickly or too quickly is not easy for a Taurus or a Cancer native. So they'll do it, but they don't want you to push them to do it. Where Sagittarius is like, wow, I've been at this job, I've done this work for 11 or 15 years, and I don't really have any complaints. I don't have any work pressures, but I'm just
No, I
done.
know.
I mean,
It's funny. It's
a
funny
Sagittarius,
because
yeah,
I'm a Taurus sun and a Cancer ascendant, and people are like, "How are you so easy to like just change and go do things on a dime?" And I'm like, "Because my moon's in Sagittarius."
well, well, congratulations. Anyone that has their moon in Sagittarius, it's your personal, emotional, psychological liberation moon of the year. You're getting unleashed and you're getting untethered. There's no saddles on you. And see, that's your inner quest. I think our soul quest, where we're not bound by the dictates of those that raised us, our parental tribe, our grandparents, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, the people in the family that raised their eyebrow of us, like that's the weird one over there, that's the black sheep over there. That Sagittarius moon with you is, I'm going to be more grounded in my Taurian and in my emotional security centers. Both Taurus and Cancer want security to where they're okay with themselves and they're not affected or infected by other people's judgments or dictates. So the Sagittarius moon actually, Nicole, is allowing you to emotionally explore and to take vision quests to where you can come back and say, you know what? It's true about Taurus. I have and had everything I needed all along. I've just stopped letting the lens of what other people think or what other people dictate, that if I was good enough, I'd be doing it this way, or if I was an expert, I'd be doing it that way. That doesn't mean that you with your Sagittarius moon doesn't take in other people's valuable expertise and knowledge and boots on the ground mechanics of things, but it's just like the Sagittarius moon lets you really, really deeply listen and then decide, and do I feel more secure with that truth now that I've done that? What envelope of consciousness did it allow to bloom for me? So it's never going to be, I never did the hot air balloon, or I went skiing, or I did this, or tripped over here, or did that, and that made me a more complete person. No, that's just a component that becomes a stimulus. I think for me, Aquarius and Sagittarius with Pluto sitting there, it's going to be stationary a while until September. So I think with Pluto and Aquarius, that's the bigger view. That's heaven talking to us, just like these northern lights. I mean, I had a client from Australia saying, oh my God, I was driving home. I'm in an area of Australia that doesn't normally get the southern borealis, and she said the whole sky was red. I pulled my car over. I didn't know what had happened, and then I felt it. It was like my heart was just enlivened. So I believe this Pluto getting into Aquarius, it'll retrograde a little bit, go back to that 29th degree. There we are again. But I feel like that this Aquarius Sagittarius is, like Nicole was saying, look up, keep looking up, because I believe that our species is also accelerating, and I believe we're going to have a lot of news about what's above our heads, what's higher in our consciousness, our ability to really understand divine timing, soul feelings becoming a reality, dream weaving, like literally seeing from point of thought to inspired intention and actually seeing the visible, viable right in front of your face manifested in the material realm. I believe that this Sagittarius Aquarius stuff is giving us the ability to go, I did it. I saw it. Didn't know what to do with it at first, but I leaned into it. It became palatable. I offered up gratitude instead of just, what do I do here on earth? How much money do I need? Are they going to support me? Will they back me? No. This is more about silent, meditative, out-of-body dreams, ancestral assistance, spirit guide assistance, automatic writing. I think it's even beyond a lot of us working with our oracle cards and what's my birthday card out of a regular deck, what color. I see it more as in like the colors. Remember, the colors were speaking to us all over the world. I believe we're also getting an upgrade in being attracted to colors that we've not necessarily featured in wearing in our wardrobe. I believe that if we work with breathing, like just don't assume your breath is invisible, like work with breathing certain colors. And
Oh,
maybe you'll
yeah.
start with just breathing in your chakra, your main chakra colors. But like I've really been drawn
That's
to violets and
super
magentas.
powerful. That was one of the first things I was taught when I started to do my healing when I was 20, that I was taught one, how to envision an orb of light in front of my face, and then to breathe that color, whichever color I chose, to breathe the color in through my nose and mouth and bring it all the way down through my body. And that light just keep infusing. Every breath was pushing it down all the way to my toes. And I just fill my entire body with that color. It is so profoundly like you feel your entire body buzzing. It's magnificent. It's such a good technique to use.
Well, I will tell you this about colorology before we leave that subject. What she's saying is right. Like when you actually have deliberate intention of breathing in a particular color, you will, and have a little notepad there, you will feel very strong differences between the yellow golden and then the emerald green and then the cobalt blue and the red. You will see, it might be difference in shades, depth, or tone, whether it's opaque or illuminating or see-through, but I'm telling you, you'll know just by something you can do for absolutely free, where you live, where you sit, outside, inside. If you'll work with breathing in, like just do, if you don't want to do all 7 main colors, just breathe in a color you've always loved, make a little note on what did I feel? And then you might just put a question mark, I don't know. And then maybe when you go to different other colors, you'll realize, oh, that one feels strong. And that all changes. It's all adaptable. But for me, my guides told me, put sending color out and breathing color in. And as you breathe it in, see it fill the entire cavity of your earth body temple, and then see it coming out your fingertips and the tips of your toes, and it's shooting out the arches of your feet into Gaia, into our Mother Earth, and then it shoots back out from the top of your head, the crown chakras, up into the heavens, and you're literally blending your color body in with the entirety of the atmospheric as above, so below. But I was told very clearly that color healing, colorology is going to be very strong, especially over the next 6 to 7 months, but on into 2025, big time,
Okay.
big time. So kind of dance with your colors. And no, it's so fun when you do that little exercise and you kind of keep it to yourself. Then you kind of go to the grocery store, you go out, or you're on a date or whatever, and they show up in that color. And you're just like, oh, whoa. And it starts talking to you. It's just
Yeah.
like it shows up going, how you doing? How you doing?
Okay, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we get to all signs. I want to talk about this,
Okay.
the anaretic degree, 29 degrees, the critical degree, because
Yep.
we have 3 planets sitting at the 29th degree right now. Obviously we have Jupiter and Venus sitting
Mhm.
at the 29th degree of Taurus, but we also have Neptune sitting at 29 degrees of Pisces. And one of the things that I feel about this particular full moon that is infusing everything that we've already spoken about is that, like Mary said, that 29th degree is powerful. It packs a punch. It's a transitionary. It's like it could go it's one of those things where it's a moment in time suspended, and it could either
Yes.
go really well or it could totally flop. Like you don't know where it's going to go. It's this which way is it going to go, and are we going to rebirth into this way, or are we going to go into the old ways? Like how is it going to happen? It's a moment right before the actual rebirth and the new cycle starts. And so when you have Neptune sitting in Pisces, a very spiritual sign, Neptune's obviously the ruler of Pisces, and then you have the opposite, Taurus, Jupiter and Venus in Taurus, which Taurus is a very material 3D world. It's this earth plane. So I feel like there's also, because they're in a sextile to one another, that
Yes.
we have one that is very spiritual, exploring the unknown, and it's all about transcending this physical plane. Whereas the other 29th degree in Taurus is, talking about the material world, what we can touch, what we can feel, what we can plant in this world, where we find our comfort in all that we are familiar with. Whereas Neptune and Pisces, like, I don't want to be familiar. I want to go all the way beyond where I've never gone before, like, let me take me out there. And so to me, it feels like there's also a union or an opportunity that's going to be presented to us, that is, how do you find the harmony in the marriage of the spiritual and the earthly planes that can coexist and work together, because they can open a door for you in a way that has not worked for you before. And it's something like, how do you bring in those two polarities, right? We've got a full moon. So again, we're talking about the polarities. So this idea of, two different spectrums, both offering, can you take the best of both and walk together through one door with them? And what comes of that? There's something really magical about these. And this is like, because when I say open a door, one, sextiles are very door opening energies. Like, you do have to walk through, you do have to take the steps. It's not just going to happen for you like that. You have to see the opportunity and take it, which is very Sagittarius, right? It's all about opportunities. But when you walk through that door, it's like you pass through that 29th degree, and where are you stepping into? What's the new place, that 0 degree that you're stepping into?
Well, you're making the commitment to move forward and to move onward. And I look at Neptune and Pisces because, like she said, Neptune is the governing agent of the whole water world, oceans of emotions, the sea life, what we SEE in life, as well as the SEA life all around this planet, and plumbing the depths. And it's certainly a conjuring energy of mystery, embracing the mystery. So I'll give you a Taurus example. So if I go to the store and I buy a packet of seeds and I put it in the fertile womb earth soil, and I dig my little ridge, my little trench, I actually put my hands in the dirt because I want it to be palatable, and I bless my seeds and I put them in there. Then I, put my eggshells or my fish emulsion or whatever little fertilizer I want to do, no matter whether it's a flour or something that you're going to eat. Let's make it something to eat or that you can actually see, because that's Taurus. And so I cover it up with the dirt, and I'll add some water, Neptune, Pisces, and then I will start to, I've at that point planted a seed, which is a mystery, into the soil. But I physically put something into the earth. Now, I have no guarantee at that point if those 5 little seeds or those 7 little flower seeds or those oregano seeds or that rosemary or lavender seed packet, I have no idea if it's going to make it. So it's an act of faith. That's pretty much Pisces. I've done the grunt work, Taurus. I've attended to it. I've watered it. I gave it good soil. I may have put a little, enriched soil on top of it. And then what I have to do is I have to have faith and I have to monitor it. But if I dig that seed up every day just to see, did that herb break that seed casing yet? And is that flower, is there a little sprout out of that seed? I'm disturbing the process. I'm trying to control or direct, but I'm interfering with the process of the magic of the seeds and the mystery of how that all happens to actually be in the embryonic womb of my Mother Earth. And then you walk out there that one day and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at that. Whoop, whoop, there it is. And so the mysteries of heaven and earth and the sunshine, the starshine, the sunshine and the moon. I've noticed at the full moons, the flowers that I planted 3 weeks ago, my grandpa, which is a gorgeous dark purple morning glory. I love the name of that, morning glory. And in between them, I planted my Arctic white moonflowers. They're all in that same genre of the Natura family, but I've got them all together. And so I'm making an arch, and it's like a magical artistic landscape. And I've got trellises up, but I'm going to let an archway happen of left and right being my dark purple morning glories, and they tend to close up around noon, and you don't see them again till the morning. They close up, and then in the middle of that, it's going to be the burst of my moonflowers that bloom at night. And actually, moonflowers bloom prolifically at the full moon cycle. So I'm creating a living flower herbal, if you will, painting. I'm actually creating art with my mystery and magic of Mother Nature, as
Mm,
well as the heavenly elements of rain and stars and skies, and me going out there
mhm,
and thanking it and blessing it. And every time I feed the mama raccoon, I have just had her little babies, and so she runs down the hill, and I have special nutritional dry food for her, and she'll bring the babies to me in a couple of weeks. I've got the little blue pool you get at the big box store, and the little babies go and play in it when it starts to get warm. I delight in how the telepathy of nature trusts me and comes to me. And it's very much like in the tarot. If you look at the Taurus energy, then you've got the Hierophant, and you also could have the Empress. You could have the rabbi, as I said, the shaman, the teacher, the guru, and then you've got the Empress, and she is pregnant with possibility in nature. She's both the springtime and the harvest. I mean, it's Taurus, spring, and Libra, the harvesting of the crops in the northern hemisphere. But then when you add Sagittarius to that, the tarot card is Temperance, the number 14th card in the major triumphs, Trump's triumphs. And what it is the angel has one foot on the top of the water, and some of the water is just going over the arch of the foot, and the other foot is just like a levitation. There's a suspension, and the angel is mixing elixirs. It's mixing the components of as in earth, so in heaven, as in heaven, so on earth, and it's mixing it up. And in a lot of tarot decks, the temperance angel has the rainbow in between the two hump parts of its wings. So it has to do, again, with color, and it has to do with temperance is, when you live in the South, they tend to want to use just really simple words. They'll tell you not to use them fancy $100 words, but temperance is a fancy word for accepted balance,
mhm.
the balance of things.
Yes,
It's both sides of it.
this idea of heaven on earth, I think that's really important because I do see that with this Neptune sextile Jupiter and Venus
Yep.
all at the 29th degree. I would say to everyone in the audience to think about how do you bring your heaven here on earth? And this
Yes.
idea of, can you start building the foundation without knowing for certainty, while still allowing the mystery to stay present of what exactly it is it's going to look like when you're done? Can you, like Mary was saying with the seeds, like it's a mystery. She doesn't know. There's this, if there's anything I've learned in life, is that the best things I have built have not been from a very clear picture when I started. It's been from a sense of faith, Sagittarius, within me,
Yep.
and following my intuition, Pisces, Neptune, to start slowly building the foundation of something very that's Taurus energy, Venus, right? So I would really ask all of you to really think about, what is it that I've been feeling called to initiate? Even though this is a full moon, something is being illuminated for you right now. Something is being illuminated in how it relates to your this idea of who am I and why am I here? Your greater purpose. And it's infusing it with some hope and optimism right now, especially when you have Jupiter and Venus coming together. And then on top of that, it's a full moon in Sagittarius. I mean, hello. Can you ask for a better recipe for some hope and inspiration and optimism in the recipe right now? So I would say to you, just all really tune into that for this full moon and see what's coming up for you. And don't hesitate, because it's requires you to take actionable steps. There is an opportunity present for you right now. So I think that, with that being said, and I would like to move into all signs, Mary. First, I would like to ask you, considering what we've talked about, what is one question that the audience can ask themselves, aside from what I just put out there right now? What is one question you think people would benefit from during this full moon to ask themselves?
Well, given the fact that Mars, our general, our accelerator,
Mm-hmm.
our initiator, is in the sign of Aries until June 9th, 10th.
And just
Aries is
touched
the
on the
fire.
North Node.
Yes, yes. And Aries, yeah. And Aries reminds us, what are the words? My question would probably be, what are the repetitive words that you each are saying after I am? Because Mars is yang, Mars is very electrical, Mars is very committed to beginning something new. So when you've got the Taurian pull of appreciation of like, listen, I don't want to look past everything that I've already been blessed with. I may have issues or fires to put out or challenges with my family, who I love, my work, my responsibilities, inflation, etc. Taurus looks at the numbers, it crunches the numbers, and Sagittarius is favored by Mars right now. It's very much favored by Mars. So in the next couple of weeks, as we hit those 2.5 days of the moon rolling through Aries and the moon rolling through Leo, and then back, when it rolls, each month the moon at 28, 29 days goes through all the 12 zodiac signs. It's our fastest moving celestial luminary. I believe that this 29th degree, when you look at numerology, the 29 adds to 11, and 11 is the master teacher. So even the numbers are saying, could you look a little deeper into what was the last subject or the teacher, or the teaching and the teacher that inspired you, that was always a go-to, that was reliable? Who are the people in your life that, whether you spaz out or you're committed or you don't talk for a while or whatever, who are the people that anytime you're back in touch with them, regardless of their life's work or their dynamics, they just are who they say they are. What you see is what you get. I believe that what the challenge is right now is we all could move away from the superficial, because Sagittarius is about the elixir of truth, the formula of authenticity. So maybe the question might be, without judging myself, where might I see that I am, and where might I initiate some more steps of to thine own self be true? And have I lost my optimism? I'm not going to let the world and its attempts to scare me or to divide me. I'm not going to fall into that ever again. I'm going to be the one that embraces the light, and I'm going to put light in any kind of dark subjects. Just like not all darkness is a bad thing. The seed going into the ground is a wonderful thing. It's the initiation, it's the birth. So where Mars and Aries is saying, hey guys, no matter how long you've had it, no matter how long its lifespan is, it might be that the elderly cat's going to pass away. It might be that a new puppy is going to be adopted. It might be that if you're feeling frustrated and bored and you don't have much money, what could I do in my neighborhood and in my community for me to be an agent of inspiration, opulence, generosity, and boots on the ground, tangible, random acts of kindness? Like there was a period when and we've all gone there, we may go there again, so it is what it is. It's just a life teaching where you go through these cycles, high tides, low tides of financial availability. And I thought, you know what, don't have the money this year to take an actual vacation, hotels, cars, rentals, and all that. I'm going to go I love animals. I'm going to go to the local dog shelter and I'm going to walk the dogs. So instead of paying for a membership at the gym, I took those 2 years and I went and I got like a 20-foot leash, for under $10. And I would go and I would walk all the dogs all over the land. I was in real good shape, because, you're walking and arms and legs are moving. And I didn't have to just go buy a gym membership, or God bless the gym, God bless the yoga teachers. I didn't have to go, that year, go spend money on that. Instead, I took the value of me, Taurus, the physical part of me, Taurus, used my body temple, Taurus is the body, and I went and I did that random act of kindness for another earth creature. We're all earth citizens. And so I had, the dogs were thrilled. They got more socialized. All the dogs that I walked, for those 2 years, all the way into winter, they got adopted because they were more socialized. They were less panicked and fear motivated. So I actually saw that the garden of my tithing and my kindness, it didn't cost me a dime except whatever gas it was to drive there, but I live close to it. And I did that. And it actually gave, when you give, you actually will get a richer type of, don't give to get. When you give, when you tip, when you tithe, and it isn't always money, it's not always Taurus. When you do, when you hold the door up, when you do something kind for someone, when you talk about what is good rather than criticizing or trolling somebody, then the world uplifts. So what Sagittarius is the part of us that says, okay, you know what? Anybody can be a troll. Anybody can criticize. Anybody can fault find. But what is the seed of inspiration? What got you motivated? And when we give, let's not seek the applause, and let's not have a leash attached to it. You know, Sagittarius is the hero. And Sagittarius is like, you know what? Let me show up and light this room up. People are all kind of grumbling about the politics and the finances and less than and all this. And I'm not saying that stuff isn't really a challenge out there, but what can we do? Each one of us joining together to be that spiritual candle to even under a full moon, which can amp up people's feelings and people's desires. This is a lusty, this is invigorating, this is a like, shut up or put up. Go do something to change it. The old statement, I think it was Gandhi, a Libra, I'm not sure, be the change that you seek in this world. Sagittarius is about active participation, not just talking about it. Oh, no, not just chatting it up, not just, and I'm not saying that chatting and communicating and ideas aren't our seed points of inspiration, but who takes the ball and runs with a Leo, an Aries, a Sagittarius, and if they so find it inspirational, a Pisces, a Libra, I mean, they're going to promo it, they're going to market it. You know, Aquarius has probably seen it before the rest of us. You know, Aquarius is like, I saw the on the Avatar, and I saw the cartoon my parents used to watch, the Jetsons. The Jetsons were the first to show us that we would be having Zoom meetings and flying cars. And we actually have the flying car right now, but we got drones. We got drone bombers now, and we've got stealth 52 B-52 things that look just like a black triangle spaceship. So you go back in time and you realize that time in and of itself is an illusion, but our intentions and our seeds that have emotion behind them is fuel. And then when we fill up our tanks with faith and commitment, we're going to go far. We're going to go far. So Sagittarius, the Sagittarius full moon, regardless of your sign, and we're going to go into that, but the Sagittarius full moon is the fuel of faith and our ability to not resist and not push away and not be avoidant or in denial about the truth that needs to come to light.
Yes. Very well said. I love that. And I think that's helpful. So
thank you, Nicole.
Yeah, wonderful. So shall we move into all signs, and
sure,
I'll let you start wherever you want to start.
No, I do want to listen to, my guide said, make sure that you know, if you're advanced in astrology and you're enjoying this format with Nicole and I, you know, in your journey of learning astrology that we are always learning more about these cosmic sciences. So my guide said this month, go in order. I tend to, at my new moon podcast or a full moon podcast, I tend to take the sign of the night, you know, the sign of the, I tend to take, like, Sagittarius is the star right now. I used to start with that, but I think that for our beginners and our intermediates, I'll go in order because it helps you do that. So like I'll start with Aries and I'll complete with Pisces, because I feel like when you're first learning astrology, you kind of are trying to learn, okay, Aries is the first sign, Taurus is the second sign.
Sure.
So, and I don't want you to get confused with what house it is. So Nicole and I from time to time are going to want to try to lean in and teach you a little bit of beginning into intermediate astrology. So this time, to the seasoned professional experienced astrologers, and I've got 35, 40 years of study on it too, be patient, because I can tell you, I still learn something beautiful about the celestial mechanics all the time, no matter how many decades I've been in it. So for Aries, the Sagittarius spotlight falls in your 9th house. And so what it's doing, it's giving you a fuller light, a spotlight on vows. So it's like your vows, your commitments, your purpose of life. Why am I here? What are my structural foundational beliefs? What do I think about my soul purpose? Do I feel that I'm wanting to be a teacher of this, a student of this? On a tangible level, it can have to do with legal, contractual type of things. Do I know my rights? Am I going to sign that contract? But it's full moons are culmination points. New moons are initiation beginning points. So you've got a boost right now, Aries, with Mars in your sign to explore. And so there's this energy, and with Pluto stationary between that first and second degree of Aquarius. I always say this on my podcast, love the A-team, love the Aquarius Aries energy when it comes together. That's two dynamic signs, the ether, the fire of the mind, which is aspiration, inspiration, and then dedication. So I remind you, Aries, not all journeys are physical. So it could be that you have microdosing. It could be that you're deciding that you're going to start an aspect of deeper meditations, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I went into dimensions and revealed things about myself. Boy, that was locked up. I had never really taken it that deep before, because Aries is one of those signs that doesn't tend to slow down enough and go deep. But Pluto and Aquarius could be urging that. And certainly this is one of your most favorable moons of the 12, 13 full moons that are possible every year for you to really be in touch with the assignment and the collaboration of your divine guides, your guardian angels, learning about the angelic hierarchy, learning, studying just a little bit about the angelic powers, the powers and the divinities and the principalities of angels would be a really good thing for Aries to get, wet their whistle with right now. But it's movable. There's things moving in your life right now. And I think Aries, because of Gemini being the third sign, Aries have got to get a grip with themselves and stop going on and on and on ad nauseum about what didn't work out or what that person did or didn't do. They need to be more present. Aries does best. Gemini does best if they look at it in what's going on right now today. Stop bringing the past into this moment of opportunity. It's not about that or them anymore. It's about right now. And will you take the reins in your hand? And as Nicole said, got to go through the door. You could look at the doorway, but as you commit to go through the door, the adventure commences. So if you're Taurus, then the adjustment you're going through right now is this Sagittarius moon is lighting up. It's beginning to light up your 8th house. Now that's deep. It's psychological. It's potentially the boogeyman. Is there a monster under my bed? What's in the closet? But it has a lot to do with our deeper issues. It has a lot to do with the things that make us, be a little scared to move forward with something. For Taurus, as we said earlier, they tend to feel more secure with what they already have, what they already know. Like a Taurus feels more spiritually secure most of the time with how much time and dedication they put into being a Buddhist or a Catholic or whatever it is. I mean, that when it comes to their spiritual, because Sagittarius is our spiritual foundation. So Taurus right now is having to summon up some type of belief or faith, because there may be there's a bigger and greater understanding. There's more depth to get beyond any of those nagging fears. You're transforming blocks, because what you've got going on is that energy of Pluto bouncing around in those early degrees of Aquarius at the 10th house. You're getting a whole different, you're looking at a whole different value system of what now is in your top 3 priority things. Obviously, if you're a Taurus and you're going through some health challenges, then number 1 on that top 10 priority list is going to be my wellness. So you might find as a Taurus that you're studying about some supplements or different teas or essential oils. If there's, like, it took the health challenge, it took that pain, or it took a little bit of like, oh, things aren't the way they used to be on the job or used to be with my health. How come my knee's hurting? What happened? I had a little accident here and I've got to heal. So you might learn about DMSO lotion. You might learn about frankincense mixed, your oil on your body wherever you had that sprain or that strain or that break. Certain oils, how to condition your hair differently if you've had hair concerns. So Taurus right now it's having secretive, holistic things revealed to them. But I believe that Taurus is going to be gaining deep truths and a bigger, deeper understanding of how not to get snagged by that fear or snagged by that sense of insecurity about your tangibles, your palatable tangibles. I can touch it, feel it, put it in the bank, check my online balance kind of a thing. I believe that Taurus is really giving themselves a break right now to decompress. And I believe that rather than being extra social Taurus, which is usually what Gemini and Sagittarius can stimulate, I believe that Taurus needs to be focusing more one-on-one, face-to-face. I'm here right now. You're here right now. Let's have a dinner. Let's have a conversation. Let's walk in the woods. Let me go commune with my mother nature and see how I'm doing within myself to process and to let things take root that I find that I'm compelled to have a desire with. So if you're Gemini, this is your full moon that highlights, stimulates, and brings to light your one-to-one contacts, your most significant other relationships. So we've got Pluto kind of favoring that. We've got Mars in Aries and all this stuff that was going on in Taurus. So there's been a whole lot of things that maybe Gemini you've held back saying, or you've been kind of grumbling to yourself, going, I wonder if they're going to see that, or I wonder if they're going to change that. Or, oh my God, that frustrates me about them so much. I'd love them to death, but why can't they change that? Why can't they let that go? And the Gemini clients, both male and female, that I've been talking to have kind of had that theme of, why doesn't he just let me handle it the way I want to handle it? Why doesn't she see that she needs to discipline that child more? Why doesn't she see that she's enabling that teenager? Why doesn't he see that I have a right to deal with my child the way I want to? So you see how there's a conflict in philosophical beliefs about that. So with Gemini right now, the full moon is suggesting to you that you might sit down with your intimate connection or your significant other and say, talk to me, and I'm not going to debate with you. I'm not going to do a tit for tat. I want you to tell me how you see that we're doing. I want to hear you tell me what I might be doing in a certain way that frustrates you or backs you up on me. And I don't want to debate it. I don't want you to be afraid to say it. I want you to tell me the pluses and minuses of how I'm missing the mark with you, how you might need more or a different kind of support from me, and whether I agree with you or not on style or function. It matters to me enough that I want you to feel comfortable enough with me as your significant partner, as your life companion. I want to hear it from your perspective and really mean it. I mean, really mean it and say thank you for that. I don't want to come back on it. I don't want to push anything. I just want to hug you and kiss you on the cheek and let you know that I need to discipline myself to really hear where you're at, to really take a glimpse from your perspective, cheek to cheek, right by your side, and let me go process that for a while and let me be a supportive partner and come back with what my frustrations or what my limitations might be. I'm not saying you're all right and I'm all wrong, but I want you to see very completely that you matter enough to me that I want to totally be there for the way you feel you've got to see it. And then, give me 3 days or a week and then maybe we could meet again and I could maybe say, well, I think I could work with this a little better. Could you do this? I mean, like, this is not your time of the year, even though it's your birthday cycle, Gemini, this full moon, this 2-3 days here, and probably till we get to the first quarter moon, probably until the moon pops into Virgo, Pisces, Virgo, those moon signs, within 4 to 5 days of a moon cycle, those two other signs, Gemini, Sag is what's happening. So Virgo, Pisces moon cycles are where you might get a deeper clarity, but there's deeper conversations and there's revelations that are more valuable now in this full moon week and these shifts of Jupiter favoring you for the next whole year, going into your sign, Venus going into your sign. This can sweeten the honey pot if you'll take a step back and let that partner confide in you and say, well, it frustrates me, or you make me feel small, or just let them do it. Just let them vent it, because there's still a bonding that goes on with you, Gemini, when you let that partner just let their hair down and say what it is. And ultimately you learn about yourself too. So if you're a Cancer or a Cancer rising, this vibrational energy is pretty much looking at your cycle of self-care. With that Taurus stuff that happened as we went into this full moon, it's like your day-to-day routine, your private maneuvers, how spirit assists you in your health and in your dynamics of how you want to organize the talent expression, the promotions, the marketing, how you do what you do. I do see advancements there. I like Jupiter moving into Gemini into your 12th house because that gets rid of the oogie boogie man, and it starts to bring in teachers and avatars and assistants, both financially and spiritually, because Jupiter, the great planet of luck, is blessing the realm of secrets and issues. So you've got like the big guy, the Zeus, you've got the big, Jupiter going in there going, I got you, I'm right here, I'm your watchdog, and it's okay. So the next year, Cancer, you pretty much got a guard at the gate saying, go ahead, take a chance, go ahead, explore that further. I'm not letting the darkness get to you. It's not, oh no, it's not gonna, nothing's gonna sneak up on you. I'm gonna show you clearly if that's a yay or a nay. So I like that the Plutonian energy in Aquarius in Cancer's 8th house, it's sensual. You may be seeking a little dalliance or a little bit of a sensual or romantic exploration. It may be that I've never dated someone that age, that much older, that much younger than me. I've never dated that cultural or that different skin color, or there's some things going on that are a little bit spicy as far as your explorations, or maybe I never allowed myself to microdose with a potential lover or partner before. There's going to be some things that start to be like, oh, wow, to do with your private life, and it's like, I think that, as a Cancer, it'll be this like, who knew? That kind of thing. So there could be some intimate sauciness. So it's, there could be some intimate like, wow, that's different. So if you're a Leo, again, I stress that this spotlight of Sagittarius and this 255 degree and this the position of Regulus, the constellation of the lion, the energy of the lion and the heart of the lion is Regulus. So we've got this stimulation going on. The Northern Lights were dancing around the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters in Greek myth, and now we also have the heart, the brave heart. The heart knows best. The heart and the back are Leo domains in physical medical astrology. So it's the circulatory flow. Do you feel like your heart is able to express and flow, or do you feel like there's some kind of blockage? There's some type of energetic blockage in the veins and the arteries and the flow of expressing how you love and who you love and why you love. So there's a charismatic, creative, I think the fun can increase. There's a tipping point romantically. I feel like that you're really craving laughter, a great sense of humor, those that can uplift you. The Sagittarius moon, of course, favors Aries and Leo the most because that's our triad of the fire signs. But I like for Leo that their good nature and their silent giving and how they pray and how they give and who they value. I see that boomerang of good karma coming back to Leo, and the fact that Pluto has been touching the edges of your 7th house in Aquarius, and it's beginning to bring you very significant players in this crossroads, in this chapter of your life. The next year, going all of 2025 for Leo, is about what we stand for, what we will not be a part of. It's like I see different boundaries happening for Leos and Aquarius, but for Leo, it's about there could be a changing of the guard of a relationship. If its time has come, if you're moving apart from each other, if it's, a child needs to move out, or an elder parent or parent figure or grandparent figure passes away, there's something about what Nicole referred to about a huge transmutation, like how we all get affected when that loved one, be it animal or human, is no longer actually beside us on the earth. Like we're not picking up our cell phone to text with them, but we can so fine tune ourselves to be able to receive messages in a dream, or be able to meditate and send radiating frequencies to them and receive answers in that altered state. So there's an altered state and a dance with the divine for both Leo and Aquarius. If you're a Virgo, okay, so this full moon in Sagittarius is hitting the 4th house, and it brings up more of a finishing up light of projects that maybe were just at the planning stages back in mid-December of last year of 2023. And now Virgo's like, I want to get it done. I want the workmen to show up when they say they're going to show up. I want to get this stuff completed. So it's got a decluttering, eliminating clutter, tithing it forward, giving it away, throwing it in the dumpster for the guys to pick up, going through the closets. It's very symbolic physically to par down, to streamline, and to get the domestic domain projects completed. It could be, besides renovations, it could be actual changes of home, like Virgo saying, that's it, I'm going to work from home, or I'm tired of working from home, I'm going to go get a place that's actually closer to my work. So there's something about Virgo wanting to actually, with Pluto in the 6th house, there could be new pets. Now you decide to buy a pet, or you change breeds of what type of dog or cat that you always wanted a Siamese cat, you get a Siamese cat. You want a particular breed of a dog, that's the one that you get. It could be an elderly pet totem passes away, or an animal leaves, and then there's another one that comes in its place. There could be a new home. You could actually be getting a new home base. You could be selling or negotiating rental contracts, so there could be tenants that are moving in and out. It could be that kind of a shift, but it's practicality and how you can actually just get the projects done. Virgos right now that I'm talking to are very fed up with procrastination. Theirs and the people that say they're going to come and put in the plumbing, fix this, do that, do the yard. It's like Virgos don't have a whole lot of patience right now with people that aren't staying true to their schedule or their word. So if you're a Virgo, just keep on keeping on, slowly, step by step. And then you'll avoid the potential square or the frustration of Sagittarius energies. If you're Libra, I had an interesting term come to me for Libra. It's a 3rd house illumination. Pluto's in your 5th house. And I saw that there was like emotional entrepreneurship, that your emotions and your feelings and the way that you're word crafting, the way that you're actually being a wordsmith. So how you express the negotiations, public relations, show and tell, the style and the methodology you choose to express desires, purchases, promoting a product in your neighbors, with your neighbors, in your community. It's short-term travel, like day trips, like exploring things close to where it is that you actually live. I did see that some kind of problem, some kind of ego-driven control drama type of thing with a sibling or a cousin that went back into the late autumn into December of 2023 has come into some kind of resolution. Like, it's like you're either going to agree to say, that's it, I'm standing strong here, you stand strong there. Those things tend to come up when people don't agree with who we're marrying, or there's someone dies and there's an inheritance will kind of a debate, or who's going to take care of that elderly parent. So that, what's going to go on with who's going to step up and be the disciplinarian or the easy person with the child that tends to be acting up right now. I saw with Libra, they're wanting to make a creative difference with someone that has an age difference, whether that's more elderly than them or being an inspiration to someone younger than them. But I liked on a personal note, I see sparks flying romantically and intimately with Mars and Aries. The sizzle is real. The sensual touch is vibrant, but I don't want you to start idealizing, Venus rules Libra too. Stop making those scenarios up in your head that it's Romeo and Juliet or it's forever and a day. Just be in the moment, Libra. Just be the air sign that doesn't try to overanalyze the whole damn thing. Just a kiss is a kiss is a kiss. The whisper in your ear and all that. Just let that be what it is without trying to analyze it to death. If you're a Scorpio, the Sagittarius energy is tangible financial blending with that Taurus. It's your assets. It's the financial dance. It's expanding your talent with confidence. It's how you demonstrate your talents. It's how you are not criticizing, self-criticizing, but moving more into gratitude. We're leaving this strong Taurus energy, but remember, Scorpio, Taurus is your polarity balance sign. Mars isn't even getting into Taurus until the end of that first week of June. So you've still got Mars in Aries, and both of those can fuel things up. So I would say if you're a Scorpio, move cautiously. Don't be impulsive with what you're spending. Like, don't spend too much. Don't be paranoid, but really look at, it's not a cycle that I would say just do random, spastic type of spending. Oh, look at that, I want it. Go ahead and think about that for 24 hours before you lean into it. Now, Pluto in Aquarius could actually be a culmination and a bigger payoff. Remember, full moons culminate things. So this Sagittarius full moon could be a blessing way gift, like it's returned unto you, as it says biblically, cast your bread upon the waters. It'll return to 1,000-fold. Someone that you were very kind to, you did a random act of kindness to, could show up and do, not that you expected, but could show up and say, you know what, I was in a really dark place and you helped me, so I want to do this for you. And it's like it'll come out of the blue type of a thing. And I'm a firm believer, and good things still can come out of the blue. Just look at the Northern Lights. So if you're a Sagittarius, boy, the spotlight's on you. So here's where you guys are going to be bucking up, Sag. If somebody's trying to restrain you, judge you, you're in conversation with them and they tell you that the way you see it isn't right and the way you're saying it isn't right, and who do you think you are? Where's your receipts? Bring the receipts. What's going on? Stop debating them, Sagittarius, and don't let that be a vampirical drain on your energy. When we're confident in our beliefs, when we're comfortable with our truth, there's no need to debate that with anybody. You're just comfortable with your truth. And when you become uncomfortable with your truth, it's up to you and I to discover and to explore and to find out what's going to be its higher valuable replacement. So your power now is in your mind and your thought thinking style, how you are heard, how you are seen, but your validation doesn't need to be coming from somebody else. The sun is in your opposite sign of Gemini. So if there's going to be any little rough edges or sharp drop-offs, it's probably got to do with your most significant other. They may be going through an independence. They may be going through a dissatisfaction cycle that you as the Sagittarius is like, let's talk about it. Is what's underneath this, and are we good? So I can see that kind of going on with Sagittarius. And if Sagittarius feels that their significant others are struggling, they'll get quiet, they'll hold space, they'll try to find out if any of it's really got to do with them or it's being projected upon them. And yes, Sagittarius, some of it just might be being projected onto you because the other person just doesn't know how to cope right now. So try not to take it personal. Try to look at the bigger message instead of just a potential criticism. Maybe that person you love doesn't know how quite to express it, because who's caught up in the spider web of confusion? Probably someone that you love. So there's extra energy of positivity. There's an optimistic approach that works. And I believe as far as truth coming to light, you Sagittarians may indeed be a very, very strong part of that. Okay, Capricorn, this moon, although it is one of my favorite positive, favorable moons, it does touch in your 12th house. Sagittarius is the sign before Capricorn. So when we have a 12th house full moon, it's psychological, it's stronger for private time, self-exploration, going to your inner verse, the innermost parts of you. That's where the transformations are going to come. It's like it can be a lower cycle for your physical exuberance and energy, but it's a much stronger cycle for your intuitive psychic perception. So there's an inner knowing. I love it for meditation. I love it for consultations. I love it for prayerful dedications, sitting outside on your porch, being with your dogs, being amongst the flowers and the herbs. I mean, if you've had a really social cycle in April and the first half of May, with this full moon, let yourself now process all of that. Look at your pictures that you took, write the thank you letters, put the bow on the present. But I feel like that it's time for self-care. The 12th house and the 6th house are times when we're to tend to ourselves, and maybe we have overreached. Maybe we have spent a little bit extra than what we do. And I feel like that, I just feel for Capricorns right now, sacred spirit has a lot of stuff to plant seeds with you. I think the seeds are being planted very intimately, very profoundly with the etheric and the divine and divine source and the presence of your guides. It's just really strong in a more private, intimate way. And it may be that you've been around a lot of people that you love, and it's time for you just to be with a sweet spot of who you choose. Is that a partner? Is that time alone? Is it the Epsom salts bath? Is it just like kind of pushing people away? for a little while because you've got to recharge your own soul battery. So it's about, sometimes when we go through a 12th house full moon, someone we know will have a little accident, or we visit them in the hospital, or we help take them to the doctor, or we bring them a meal because they had a little fall, a little oopsie. So it may be that Capricorn is helping someone navigate through a little bit of a oopsie cycle. You know, it's like, oh, I know, and it's calming people down from their fears. But your dreams, and your ability to get tangible, real-time answers, and wow, the light bulb goes up over your head, and the inspirations and the insights that can come by just taking, you know, it's like take ye apart a while and rest. Let thyself be restored. That's what I'm saying for Capricorn. Let the spiritual inspirations be the seeds that can help you with your emotions and your thoughts and your physical regeneration. Aquarius, it's this is an energetic signature for you of the 11th house. I called it hopeful horizons when I was meditating on your sign. Pluto is there, and so Pluto's like the inner rainbow, and I feel like their goals are now absolutely set into motion. I saw a cycle of witnessing your potential, witnessing for what it is. I felt like graduations, like maybe you took on getting a PhD, or you wanted to had to study certain specific skill sets to be able to advance in a particular career or job. I feel like you're really having revelations on who's on board to support you rather than being envious of you. I feel like the fruits of your labors are manifesting. You'll find out who your advanced allies are. Your achievements are just skyrocketing into November of this year. I really, really like that. And the fact that Pluto is edging into your sign for the next, you know, Pluto's like the slowest moving planet, so you're looking at like the 20 plus type of year. I really feel with Aquarius that they may temporarily seem to be separating from the mom and the dad, and I'm really incredibly busy and focused in my life right now. That's been going on for Aquarius since the end of 2022, and I feel like with the thrust of Mars and Aries, and then one of your other fixed signs of Taurus, look to June and July, Aquarius, of you really seeing, you know, the money in the account, the shaking of the hands, the commitment of the deal, and deed done, and schooling finished, and good job, hoorah, type of a thing. Pisces, this full moon hits up in the 10th part of your chart. Pluto is in your 12th house. Pisces rules rehabilitation, it rules hospitals, it rules the dynamics of healing. Sometimes we learn from an excruciating illness or physical challenge. Sometimes, and especially Pisces, it seems like Pisces people are able to transcend and rise up from early life challenges, the abusive childhood, the foot that's pointed the wrong way, the autistic child, the Down syndrome, I was inspired recently by a movie that won a lot of Academy Awards. It's called Peanut Butter Falcon, and it's the first movie I've ever seen and I've ever known of that an actual person with Down syndrome was wanting to be an actor. It wasn't acting like a Down syndrome person. Pisces rules all those unusual physical handicaps or learning disabilities, and so he's the main character in the movie, and he talks about his dreams and how he wants to be a hero. Peanut Butter Falcon, that's the best Piscean type of expression for those of you that are beginners in astrology. That's a current movie that would express a lot of Pisces. They get made fun of, he gets called a retard, and certain people try to beat him up or take advantage of his affliction, and then the heroes come to him, and the people that had challenges that didn't know they were handicapped psychologically because they've been carrying around a really heavy load of pain from loss in their lives and not knowing what they really wanted to do and their sole purpose in life. It's really an ever expanding. The three main characters, the female, the Dakota and Shia LaBeouf, and the guy that plays the main character, that's really a trinity expression of, like, if you wanted to talk about or witness what is Pisces energy in my chart, yeah, that movie. So as a Pisces, how do you want to be seen? It's a very positive cycle for you actually having truth come to light and having a knowing about the path for you to succeed. There's better options now for you to advance, that right doctor, that right prescription or solution or herbal remedy, or that person that comes in and maybe 1,000 people suggested that herb or getting off that prescription to you, and all of a sudden it's just like, that's the day you're liberated. Never ever forget that anything, a new moon or a full moon in Sagittarius, is all about getting unhinged, getting liberated, getting set free. The pasture opens and the horse gets to run free. So it's about here. You're out of the pen, you're out of the chute, run. You know, it's like the dog just gets to open up and run and feel the wind in its hair. It's the person that loves to just take that motorcycle and go full out, or the race car driver's finally on the course and it's like, hit it, especially with Mars and Aries. So something, Pisces, that you must choose between: career versus home. Do I want to live here? Do I need to move there for the benefit of my child to go to school there, or to actually go into a less crime-ridden type of neighborhood? For Pisces now, they tend to be become unhinged about their imagined fears, but instead I feel like there's something to do with an international boost. Perhaps that's through social media, perhaps a product or a talent or a book or a song or a lyric or a dance. You get inspired by that, Pisces, Neptune, dance, meditation, illusionary, acting out, being able to actually rise above it through fantasy. Pisces can do the fantasy dance in Libra and really get inspired from that fantasy and make a reality come from it. So I kept feeling this international flair for you, Pisces, as we finish out the signs. But you may also be someone. There are more Pisces and Virgos that are working in the rehabilitation, physical therapy, mental therapy, addiction therapy, doctors and nurses and endodontists and dentists and such. Those signs tend to migrate into how to help someone regain their ability to have mobility. So you'll see a lot of nursing homes, animal shelters, thrift stores for animals, thrift stores for abused women. There's something about the advocacy of Pisces. Those two signs are the signs that come in to heal through the service that they give, and Pisces is at the top of that. So Pisces can be like the earth angels that show up, and it's somebody that's in your life, that surgeon, that psychiatrist, that therapist, that mystic, that astrologer, and maybe they're not in your life ever again, but because of what you experienced from their therapy, you are forever heightened and uplifted, and it's always an anchor that you can go back to be reminded, when I find myself in times of trouble, they came to me, that happened, Spirit sent that to me, no doubt in my mind. And so it could be on that whole level of, if someone's getting ready to transition or pass away, you're the one that holds the dog. You're the one that sits with the person that may be getting ready to take their last breath. There's something of that kind of, you're forever changed because of the presence that you had in someone's time of dire need. You know, you're the one that's dialing the 911 when you see a car accident. You're the first one to get the first responders on the scene. So it's not dire and it's not scary. And I'm not giving you a negative forecast at all. I'm just saying, in some way, you may be a spiritual first responder and or a spiritual sacred first responder might be the one that comes and liberates you, Sagittarius, and liberates you from a long-standing, long-suffering issue. But Sagittarius, for all the signs, it's where we find our optimism, where we can feel the mojo and the spiritual juju. And so I would say, you know, as you aim your arrow up, being an archer of Sagittarius, and we're stepping into that archetype for a moment. We're the pirate getting ready to board the ship for adventure. We're the centaur. We're the archer. We're Artemis, and we're putting the bow up to the sky and saying, these are my arrows of inspiration. I'm not hunting, I'm exploring, and follow your bliss.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a very it's a very interesting full moon. It's got a lot of potential in it, you know, and lots of hope and lots of optimism.
Absolutely.
You know, so embrace it. I think also just remember, everyone, this week, you know, there's the changing of signs of both. Venus is moving into Gemini, Jupiter's moving into Gemini. The sun has already moved into Gemini. So it's this is a potent week, on top of it being a full moon, like there's a lot going on. So uh brace yourselves
Gonna
for
be
if
busy. Gonna be busy.
yeah, because literally you said this a couple times in some of the personal readings of the changing of the guard, in many ways. So I really enjoyed the show, Mary. I loved how it flowed. So I don't know how you
Thank you.
feel. Did you like it as well?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
me too.
I could feel the audience drinking it in and being able to apply it efficiently without, when we give these forecasts to you from my heart, from Nicole's expertise, my expertise in our hearts, we want to empower. We don't want you to seize anything from some type of a fear or a judgmental base, nor will we take that. Yeah. So I feel like that this is about, if you'll just open up your hearts and your perceptions, perceive gratitude, perceive faith, perceive. How long has it been? One of the questions I might finish with is, how long has it been since you actually trusted in being hopeful and optimistic?
Good question. That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
So something for you guys to percolate on as you come up to this full moon this week, and use the information in a way that it really resonates with you, and apply it, because every full moon is a possibility for ceremony and ritual, and I love it. So I would love to hear from you guys in the audience. Let me know. Mary and I both know in the comments below if you enjoyed this show, and if there was anything in particular that you really liked, or maybe there was something you didn't like, or just let us know. But please do so with a loving heart, and we will accept it openly. Mary, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know that if you guys want to reach out to Mary for your own personal astrology reading, you can reach her at her website, marydusina.com. And I'm going to leave her links in the description below. And of course, you can follow her on Facebook, on Instagram, and she does her new moon readings with Joe Roop on Lighting the Void. And so if you want to check out her new moon forecast, you can find it there. And of course, don't forget that I have now added 2 new additions to the podcast weekly shows. On top of these Tuesday episodes, you are also going to get a Thursday live call-in that is going to happen every other week, where you can call into the show at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time, and ask me anything that you'd like, whether it's guidance, whether it's a reading, whether it's just, help that you need in your relationships, or maybe it's a healing path. Whatever it is, just call in and we'll bring you on the show live through the Zoom room. And then don't forget, I have also added in a flare, which I think by the time this episode comes out, you will have heard my first reality recap of a spiritual perspective on reality TV shows and what's going on. This is where I'm taking that Neptune, and that 5D, 3D blend, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to add a little humor. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. And we're going to see what people are doing right in the world, and maybe where they could use some little help, and how that applies to your life. So we look through other people's lives and how it may apply to our lives. And we're going to do so with some fun and lightheartedness. And I don't know anyone else out there who's doing reality recaps from a spiritual perspective. So I hope you guys enjoy. I know it's going to be a lot of fun for me. Those will also be coming out every week. So lots of new stuff for you guys. And don't forget also, the Forbidden Journey retreat for September 18th through the 21st is now. Tickets are on sale. You can get your ticket. You just need a deposit to secure your spot. Don't forget, Erica Cunningham, or Erica Martino now, is going to be with me, guiding you through the journey. So guys, I love you so much. Mary, I love you too. Thank you so much for being on the show with me. And we will see you guys. Well, Mary and I will see you together in a month.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Remember, enlighten up means we got to lighten up.
Yes, we do. All right, guys, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.